You can pick up any stick. This is a collie or a escrima stick. I've got a walking cane, and I have an Irish shillelagh, which is an Irish walking cane or walking stick. You can pick up any stick and use it just like you would a sword. When I was a kid, I used to love watching The Three Musketeers and Zorro, and then later, that movie came out, The Princess Bride. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You know the rest if you've seen it. Can you use a stick like you would a sword for self-defense? We're gonna go over some of the basic techniques right now. Grab any stick, doesn't matter how long, how short, follow me. Number one, the first thing you do when you pull your sword, they say on guard or get ready, get out of my face, you're getting too close. This is self-defense. You create distance between yourself and the threat with your sword. You'll do the same thing with your stick. You just have a good grip on one end, you have the tip on the other side, and then you have all of that distance. So yes, can you use your stick like a sword for self-defense? The first answer is yes, because you can create that distance, right? You're just poking it straight through his face. The thrust, as you would with a sword, think of fencing, think of jousting. You would push with this hand and you would create that distance. You would go right through that target. Always aim for the center line when we're talking self-defense. Now, are you gonna slice them like you would with a sword using a stick? Obviously, no. That's right, we don't even have to say that. But I know someone's gonna ask that. Someone's gonna point that out. It doesn't have a sharp tip and there's no blade. So you're not gonna cut their arm off, you're not gonna lacerate their insides, but we're talking self-defense. You don't necessarily wanna do that kind of damage anyway if you just want someone not to hurt you, not to close the gap with a knife. You wanna keep them back. You might have to get rid of them completely, right? That's self-defense. But you don't have to slice them through or run them through the way you would if you were Zorro or you were Inigo Montoya when he finally meets the man with 6 fingers. So with your sword, with your walking cane, with your stick, you create distance, you put it between you and your threat, and notice that I have it up and at that angle. David asked, what time is it here? It's 10 minutes until noon. We've got a storm brewing in the Atlantic, so if this gets interrupted a little bit, the internet's been a little spotty. It's beautiful outside right now, so I don't know if the storm's coming or not, storm Fred or something. But between me and you, I have my hands up. My hand is on my sword, so I can use that length. Most walking sticks are a standard length of 36 inches. If you're using a walking cane like this Cane Master self-defense cane, it is also 36 inches. And you would just slide your hand down, and now you have a very substantial piece of wood to stop somebody using that basic thrusting motion. I also grabbed a collie stick because I didn't have any just basic sticks laying around. Ed says, no reason in the name of self-defense, something caused him to think about, predator, not prey. Good point, Ed. Creating this distance between me and the threat, I'm able now to simply thrust. So thrusting first, Ed said he shows kids the cane. It's a great option, right? If you use a walking cane for self-defense, can you use this like you would a sword? Yeah, you thrust first, and then think of all of the blocking and parrying motions that you would use if you were fighting with a sword, whether it's a foil, which is just basically a thrusting motion. You can still parry or block with that basic sword. Just think about keeping it in front of you, between you and the threat, and using it, right? It doesn't bleed, it's nice and hard. Using it, Mini Bike Express says, man, I learned a lot from you, thank you. I learned a lot from you guys, especially when you put your comments down below. Please keep doing that. But you have the ability to push to one side and push to the other side. When you push over, point your knuckles in the direction that you want to block, right? When you push back, the knuckles are coming back. If this had a blade, then that would keep the blade going into the attack to stop them and keep you from breaking your sword. But if it doesn't have a blade, don't worry about that. Use this turning to give you more strength. This is structurally stronger when you block by turning your knuckles into the block. You can block up, you can block straight up this way. Notice that I make a little bit of an angle so that it can slide down. You can turn your hand this way, let it slide down that way. You can block across the body, blocking here, the top of the head. You can drop the blade of your sword or your walking stick or any stick you pick up to use like a sword for self-defense. and simply push across the body. You can turn your palm out, turn your palm out. There are many ways that you learn how to block when you learn how to fight with swords. Pushing up to the side, and I'm going to give you, if you want to learn how to fight with the sword in the most simple, basic way so that you can pick up a stick, any kind of stick, walking cane, regular stick, collie stick, escrima stick, or just a stick lying around, and you need to defend yourself. I'm going to give you practice at the very end, what I want you to practice. All right, so let's talk about it again. I've got thrusting, and I have parrying or blocking, all the basic blocks, and then think about slashing or chopping strikes. When you come through, you can see, especially with this blackthorn shillelagh made in the town of Shillelagh, this was a gift from Douglas, thank you Douglas, you're able to generate a maximum, the tip always flies off, but that's the cool thing about these shillelaghs. That's a hard piece of metal right there. You could almost, it's not sharp, you can't run someone through, but if you were to stick that to the nose, in the teeth, into the throat for self-defense, into the solar plexus, with that first sword fighting thrusting motion, you're gonna stop them from coming in, from getting any closer. Stop them, bring it up, slice through. Bring it the other way, slice through, slicing down. I always like to marry a blocking motion with a strike. When you block, that allows you then to get it onto your shoulders so that you can come forward this way. Steve says, hello to everybody. Steve, we're using a sword motion, sword technique to learn how to fight with a stick for self-defense. And again, it could be a walking stick, it could be your cane master's cane, it could be a collie stick, or out in the back, they emptied the trash, a bunch of trash fell out. The trash cans around here, it's crazy. There's so many people down here in South Florida, so many people dump their trash. If there's not a lock on the dumpster, everybody just comes by and dumps their trash in it. So they're always overflowing, things fall out. This morning I counted 2 broken umbrellas. So, and it's rainy season, 2 broken umbrellas. You pick up an umbrella, can you use an umbrella to defend yourself? Yes, absolutely. Just like you would with a sword if you were Inigo Montoya, Princess Bride, or the Dread Pirate Roberts. Remember him? He was a better sword fighter, but it's all basically the same technique. Thrusting, parrying or blocking, and then basic slashing techniques. Now, one of my favorite non-lethal sword techniques for self-defense that you see every once in a while, Zorro was really good at this, right? Zorro would carve that X in the backside and back guys all the time. Every once in a while he had to knock somebody out. He would use the hilt, the handle of his sword. And if you had this Irish shillelagh, this blackthorn shillelagh, you can, boom, you can strike extremely hard with the back and not have to break anything or, kill them and slice them up if you had a real sword. So always remember when you're fighting with a stick like a sword, use the back end. Let's talk about the walking cane, right? So let's say we're gonna go over, let me give myself a little bit of room, push myself into the corner this morning. And good morning to everybody. It's good to see everybody this morning. Hit the wrong button. All right, I'm back. So the first thing I want you to do, this is how you practice. Let me drop the camera again. Don't get nauseous. Push my glasses up a little bit. Get into a better position. 1 foot in front of the other, or think about 1 foot behind the other. But when I'm here, I'm a very broad, wide target. All my vital spots are easy to hit. So step back. Put the cane or the stick or the sword between you and the threat. You want to, David asks, are lightsaber combat forms accurate? They are with a combat lightsaber, but you gotta remember, lightsabers are fantasy weapon. It's not a real weapon. Are they similar to using a Japanese katana? Yeah, they're very similar. Or maybe if you were fighting kendo with the shinai, they are similar, but they're not the same. They're gonna be different moves because you're gonna use the fancy spinning of the lightsaber because it lights up and it looks really cool. All right, but the principle is the same. Learn how to fight with a lightsaber, learn how to defend yourself with a stick. Use lightsaber techniques to defend yourself with a walking stick the next time somebody has a knife or there are multiple attackers or they're stronger, you're not sure of yourself, you pick it up and get into a better position. So you step back, better position, practice a thrust first. Think of fencing. You know, fencing with the foil, there are three kinds of swords. In the fencing, there's the foil, there's the saber, and I can't recall the third. Is it the rasp? What's the third? If you know the three kinds of swords in fencing, please put that in the comment section below. I always get the third one. I always forget the third one. I don't know why. But foil, basically, then they all need thrusts, right? And you'll see they're usually on a tether now because that's how they score them. And then they're thrusting. So think of that first. You're thrusting first, stepping by moving your foot forward. You're creating not only more distance, getting closer in the attack, but you're creating way more speed and power. So practice lunging in or stepping in with that front foot if you can. Second, after this, I want you to add an upper block. Bring it around and strike. So practice 1, up, 2. 1, up. See how that protects my head? I don't want it here. I'm wide open. If you go 1, 2, that's just a sloppy technique. You go 1, up, 2. Practice that way. 1, up, 2, and then you can bring it around the other way. I like you to do them in combination so you get your heart rate up and get leaned out. Throw it in the other hand. I also want you to be ambidextrous. When you're fighting with a stick like a sword for self-defense, be able to do it on both sides evenly. Lean in, block up, slice down, bring it around, slice the other side. Make that a practice. Go back to the first hand, thrust, block, strike. You can add another block, strike, switch hands, thrust. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Learn how to do it in a smooth way, and then when you have to use it, it's gonna flow out of your body. Let me grab the collie stick, and let's go over basic strikes. So, and if you wanna see the collie stick or the cane, these are great self-defense tools. Check the first link, second link below. From here, the first thing I want you to do is thrust, and then I want you to bring it to the same shoulder, that's my right hand, right shoulder, slice down, bring it to the other shoulder, slice down. 1, 2, 3. From here, turn your palm up. 4, palm up. 5, 6, and 7 are horizontal. 8 is down. 9, you're gonna bring it up in this direction. Now these are collie strikes, but you'll also, if you ever do stage combat fighting, you're gonna do a lot of these same basic angles, learning how to fight with a sword. And a secret, a lot of the fighting techniques that you see in movies now are based on Filipino martial art, like escrima, arnis, and kali. So if you have a passion, you want to learn how to fight like they do in the movies, learn Filipino martial arts. For one, learn them all. If you ever become a stuntman, I have a student who's a stuntman right now, and before he went there, I kept saying, you got to learn this, you got to do the Western boxing, you need to learn some jiu-jitsu, you need some judo, you need to learn how to fight with every single weapon you can imagine, and then learn how to improvise. We need to be doing hubad lubad. You need to learn it all. And he got there and he's like, yeah, you're right. You know, and he can flip and spin really well, and now he can do every martial art. Think about one of the best sword instructors and lightsaber instructors on the internet is Krista Smith. I think that's who it is. Michelle Krista Smith, maybe. And she's a stunt woman, and she now knows all, and I watched her YouTube grow from like a few hundred people to where it is now, which is massive. And I watched her skill set improve and change as she picked up more and more martial arts. So from here, fighting styles. Thrust, angle down, angle up, slice through, slice back, go down over the top, push in this way, put it in the other hand. Now, if we were doing traditional Japanese style fighting with the sword, you can use that too for self-defense, but I want you to just keep it simple. There's a reason Japanese style of sword fighting is way more, to me, it's more beautiful, it's more intricate, it's more labor intensive. You gotta spend a lot of time to get really good to fight two-handed with a Japanese sword. A lot different than European styles. Not to say it's better, don't read into that. That doesn't mean it's better. It's not good, it's not bad, it's different styles. But learn this way first. One, if you wanna learn how to pick up a stick, use it like a sword for self-defense, learn basic angles, thrusting motions, thrusting, slashing or slicing, slicing, pulling, slicing, right through the middle, and then learn the basic blocks. You're gonna take this one, you're gonna come up and bring it up. Remember the angle. If I have it straight like this, not only can you see the top of my head, you're gonna hit me really easily, right? It's because I'm not high enough. But if I have it straight like this, it's gonna collapse. And when it does, it's gonna whack me in the head. If I have it up like this, it's gonna hit this and slide off. You wanna give that angle like the roof so that the snow comes down, sits on the roof and slides off. If it's flat, gets heavy, 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 crushes everything to the ground. So block up, block to the side, block to the other side, turn your palm down, block over, turn it over, block back. So basic blocks, basic strikes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 basic strikes, or blocks. On the strikes, when you do combat stage fighting, which I've done a lot of when I was younger, haven't done that in a long time. It was hard. After I came out of the military, it was hard for me to go back in and want to do anything with theater because it was just so much pretend. I don't know what it was, but I always loved the dancing part and the fighting part of stage stuff, stage work. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. And you can number your strikes. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then letter your blocks. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. That's just a two-handed block. Give you 2 more that you can practice. If you do that, then you can make your own little movie or your stage fighting or whatever you want. Or it just keeps it organized in your head. Again, the first one is a thrust, then angle down, angle up, bring it through, bring it back, down through the middle, and thrust, switch hands. Start with a basic thrust. Notice that I like to bring it around. That is just a good habit. It allows you to practice. There's an extra one if you want one. Bring it up this way, strike up this way. Practice the basic angles and how to fight from behind your stick. Always learn whether you're using a stick for self-defense and you're using sword techniques, collie techniques, escrima techniques, or other styles, always learn to keep the stick between you and the threat so you can fight moving fast and defend yourself. All right, so the basic question was, can you use a stick like a sword for self-defense? The answer is, of course. It's so obvious. You guys knew that, but you asked me to talk about it, and I started to think about it. I went back and I watched The Princess Bride. That's why there's that picture of Inigo Montoya on the beginning. Something about that character. We all love that character, right? He's fighting for his father. He's fighting for his honor. And he's so good at fighting with a sword because he practices again and again and again. That's what I want you to do. So you're going to practice thrusting, slicing at angles, whether it's down or up, slicing horizontally. And you can do that to the body, to the head, to the legs, and then straight down. You can also bring it back up. And then thrusting at angles, thrusting down, thrusting up, and then practice your blocking and your parry. Block up, block over, block down. At the beginning, you can just practice these small circular blocks, right? If I had, there's his sword, the man with the 6 fingers. I try to push him off the center line so I can thrust, right? Parry and thrust. And so there's a lot of twisting, small circles, spirals with your wrist. In and out, in and out. Practice that, and then you'll be able to pick up any stick and defend yourself. Please put your comments below. If you remember, the first question I had was, what are the 3 styles of sword fighting in fencing? What are the 3 styles of sword? I know foil, I know saber. What was the third one? I don't know why I can't remember that. Please put that in there. And yeah, be ambidextrous. Always learn how to use both hands. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.